Well, for one final time from an empty St James's Park before the World Cup break, I'm going to bring you my post-match reflections. I'm going to miss them. I quite enjoy wandering around here, talking into a phone by myself after the games. In fact, I might ask the club staff if I can come down just to wander around St James's by myself during the break and bring you some more videos. I think that would be popular, wouldn't it? But and something I've just realised is my selfie stick has never actually experienced a defeat at St James's Park since I bought it in the summer. I've actually never done one of these videos following a Newcastle loss, which is quite something. I mean, draw your own parallels from that. I'm not saying it's like some sort of magical selfie stick, you know. It's kind of what I am hinting at. But yeah, no. The real magic is Eddie Howe, someone who just behind us there 5 minutes ago, you know, he was on his way out of the ground, then he stopped to talk to a handful of us just off the records, you know, so I won't go into the exact details of what he said, but you know, what a manager and what a job he's done. And I'm going to talk about what was the theme of my Sunday match report, my own Sunday match report, in part to convince me that it was a topic probably worth pursuing, and that I've led off on the right thing, because what I went in on in the end was Graham Potter versus Eddie Howe. You know, it was the audition, some people would think, probably from beyond these parts, the audition of the two England hopefuls, the two men who are, you can't deny it, you know, first and second favourite in the running to replace Gareth Southgate should he leave after the World Cup. Now, the point I made in my match report was that in victory, the chances of Eddie Howe getting the England job increased. In defeat, the odds on Graham Potter probably shortened, and by that I meant, and this was an opinion I held before the game, there is not a chance Eddie Howe would leave Newcastle United right now for the England job. Not a chance. You know, he is fully invested in what he's doing here, and if ever he needed a reminder, you know, is to everything around the football club right now, the occasion, the supporters, the way the players are playing for him, going back up to third in the table as well. Everything about that was captured here today, and the scenes at the end were quite magnificent as well. The reason I said Graham Potter's odds probably shortened is because he's probably moved closer to the sack at Chelsea, not for 7 years. As a manager, lost 3 games on the spin, and we know how precarious employment can be in West London. So yeah, I was asked this question actually on a radio show a couple of days ago, you know, and they asked it with all sincerity. They said, if it doesn't go well to Gareth Southgate, what is the risk of Eddie Howe going to the England job? You know, is there any nerves on Tyneside among the supporter base as to that? And you know, I go back to the answer I've just given. None whatsoever. You know, we've spoken to Eddie about this before, on the record, off the record, and the England job will always be the England job. It'll be the England job in 5 years' time, 15 years' time. This Newcastle project he is embarking on at the moment is unique, and it, as I said before, you know, it's just about the most exciting in world football, and here again today was yet further evidence of that. And as I was doing that radio show the other day, and I posted a little link to it on my Twitter feed, my wife walked into the kitchen at the point when I was eulogising about Eddie Howe. They'd asked me a question, what makes him a good manager, and she just sort of, she rolled her eyes and raised her eyebrows as if, are you talking about him again? Because generally, and she knows it, I'm someone who generally I don't really rate managers. I don't think they're very good. Perhaps that's working in the northeast for the last 8 or 9 years for the Daily Mail across Sunderland, Newcastle and Middlesbrough. I've been exposed to a few bad ones in that time, and a couple of good ones, I must say. But you know, Eddie is by far the best. And again today, that team that played there, and I know there's a big change in personnel, but that club, that team, they were European champions, 18 months ago? European champions, and they've come and they've played with a back 5, which morphed into a back 8 at times, approaching the hour, against a team who a year ago were bottom of the table. Now, of course, Newcastle have added players since then, but again, you know, one of the match winner, you know, I thought was Newcastle's just about the best player, Joe Willock, is a player Eddie Howe inherited. Joe Linton, again, very good today. You know, players who, and I've banged this drum for a long time now, players who are just being so badly failed by the previous regime, by the previous coach, and set up everything around the club, and now being allowed to thrive under a manager who really is quite magnificent, and who rightly is the next favourite for the England job, because he's the outstanding candidate. but he's not going, you know. If there is any nervousness among supporters, I don't think there is. Trust me, he's not going anywhere. Where he is going is into Europe, you know, international-wise. Yes, he is going international, but that is because he's taken Newcastle back into continental football. And the third now, in what is it, 9 points ahead of Chelsea, down in 8th. And can you see them relinquishing that sort of cushion? You know, I've spoken about this before, that the fact Newcastle don't have European football this season, the fact that they're going to be exposed to Eddie Howe the fact that the players are going to be exposed to their coach Eddie Howe more than any of the rivals for that top 4 position. They're going to have more time with him on the training pitch. Well, wow, what an advantage that is. And you know, Eddie won't be drawn on the record or off the record. Even there, when we've just been speaking to him, we're pressing him, we're joking about, you know, checking the expiry dates on our passports, and, you know, is it going to happen? Are you going to hang up there? Are we going to be playing Champions League football? And even when he was just having a little chat with us there, he still wouldn't commit to that being the aim. But listen, it's got to be the way they're playing there. 5 wins on the spin, and they were better than Chelsea. They were better than Chelsea from start to finish. It was a bit of a sticky start, wasn't it? 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. But I thought closing the first half, they were magnificent. Listen, it didn't really work in the final third during that first half, probably because you didn't have the fluidity of Callum Wilson. But I thought to that point, getting to the final third, I thought they were slick again. I thought Willock was excellent. Probably one of his best games this season. I really thought he drove Newcastle forward. I thought Sean Longstaff again had a good game. And what a point to make on that. Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock, 2 guys who were nowhere near the England squad, if we're being honest, up against Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount, 2 players who will be going to Qatar. And who came out on top? Well, I'll let you decide that. But yeah, and again, they were just magnificent. And in the second half there, they get the goal, a wonderful finish from Joe Willock. And I thought they closed out the game well. You know, I had the confidence to commit to a Newcastle win in match report from quite a long way out. And given it was a night game and deadlines were tight, that was probably a little bit of a risky move. But I mean, I committed so much of my copy was reliant on a Newcastle victory. But for me, it wasn't in doubt, and that is just the confidence that, as a North East journalist, that I've gotten them right now. And you know, is this break a good thing for Newcastle? Well, no, it's not. How can it be? They're the most informed team in the country. If not, I'd love to see the stats. Are the most informed team in Europe? I imagine they probably are. So the break isn't a good thing. But if any manager is going to have an extra 6 or 7 weeks to work on the training pitch, and bearing in mind Newcastle haven't got loads of players going to the World Cup, who would you want it to be? Well, you would want it to be Eddie Howe. You know, there's an argument you could say, as much as they'll probably lose a little bit of momentum, but they could come back better for it, physically, tactically, mentally, everything else, because I think all of us guys up here covering the patch have got that absolute confidence in him to make the most of any sort of window, any exposure he's given to his players. So yeah, listen, and I imagine you guys watching and us as journalists didn't want this break to come, because St James's is a pretty special place right now to be watching and enjoying football. And tonight was just another example of that, and just a tiny little reminder going into this break of just it would have been such a shame, wouldn't it, if Newcastle had ended it on a defeat, but they didn't. And the tails are massively up, and they are where they deserve to be, 3rd in the table. And as we record this, 5 points off top. Wow, you know, that really is quite something. So again, guys, thanks for watching. If there is any demand, I'll do some videos during the World Cup if Newcastle will let me in to wander around here, as I quite enjoy doing. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. I think I will bring the odd little update from a World Cup perspective. But for now, yeah, let's just have one little last scan around an empty St James's. Thank you so much for watching this season. I hope you've enjoyed the videos, the updates. Remember, Mail on Sunday, Mail Online, Mail Plus. There's still plenty to come from a Newcastle perspective before the World Cup, because just down there in the little mix zone behind us, the players were queuing up to speak to us. Wow, that's a change, isn't it? They used to sneak out of all the side exits and doors they could to avoid talking to us press guys. Not anymore. Yeah, it is all change, isn't it? So take care. Happy World Cup, and yeah, just enjoy it. It's been a pretty remarkable year, hasn't it? Okay, take care, bye bye.